Hey, how's it going? Welcome to Nick's Toy Box. Today we are going to be looking at the Hot Toys Star Wars Starkiller off of the Legends line. This one is the Sideshow Special Edition, which comes with that gold coin, which I will go into a little bit. So sit back, relax, and get ready to check out another review. Starkiller was probably one of my favorite characters from Star Wars growing up. I remember playing the games, and I think Target had gotten the lightsaber, and I was obsessed with it. I remember I begged and begged and begged, and my mom finally got it. So the guy holds a really special place in my heart. I still own my original figure, the itty bitty one, back when I was a kid. So to be able to have this in hand is phenomenal. So diving on in, we get our typical packaging, which you kind of saw in my intro here. The red color tones and the gray really match him perfectly. Obviously, that's his whole color scheme. I'm really enjoying the trend that we are getting lately, which I don't know if it is a full trend from Star Wars Hot Toys originally, but to me it's a new trend, which you get these cool blogger photos on a little piece before you actually dive in. Really cool. Shows what you can do with the figure. And I mean, it's also just dope. I think it's really, really cool. So, luckily, real easy to remove. You don't have to worry about messing it up or anything. I mentioned on the Darth Raven video, it would be really cool to get those framed. Still thinking about it. Really don't know where I'd put it. Here's our standard box, which you would expect to see from a Hot Toys. Everything all nice and separated, all magical-like. Let's get out of the box, get accessories looking at here. You get your stand, which I think is probably the coolest crotch stand just because of how it can go in any of those slots you see. I like that gleam on it as well. You see that Lord Starkiller with the legends in parentheses. I wish that wasn't there. I think it's my biggest gripe, but whatever. Maybe they have it there because one day, fingers crossed, we'll get one in person. Here's a coin. I've mentioned it before. It has some weight to it. It feels dense. It doesn't feel real cheap. It's really nice, and it has detail and texture. It's not one dimension. My only, request was something that made it feel more special and limited. Something on it that, made it feel real special, but I guess it's neither here nor there. Diving in here, you get your typical lightsabers, red ones. We get 2 of each, so the normal ones, and then, the motion effect ones. Only one hilt lights up, minus the fact that you see a bunch of them down there, but we'll kind of get into that in a minute. I think the fact that we get some additional ones is cool. These hands are dope. Capital, all letters. Also really sharp, but also just so dope. I'm glad they went all out on it and didn't, cheap out anywhere and didn't, round the edges. I like that it really is menacing. And even working with him, if you poke yourself a bit, there's a price to pay to messing with Lord Starkiller. Kind of cheesy. That's how I like to look at it. They're freaking dope. I love them a lot. Be careful, though, so you don't snap them off or bend them or anything, because I don't imagine they'd be very forgiving. I was pretty gentle with mine. You get a nice little ensemble of hands, though, with, 2 for each hand, so 1 each to hold sabers. You get some open palm ones. A nice little selection that you get. They're really nice, really detailed, which we've come to expect from them. I'm trying to think. I think I like the Starkiller ones more than the Darth Revan ones, but I'm not going to try to compare the two because they're totally 2 different guys. Here's Lord Starkiller's saber itself. So we get the standard not electrical hilt, and then we get the actual plug-in hilt. The detail on this is really nice, really nostalgic, reminding me of the ones that I had growing up, like I mentioned earlier. Having the little mini version for my Lord Starkiller is really amazing. Like I said, we got the light-up version too. I don't really mess with the light versions because of my display, but it's cool to have. We get a crazy ensemble of hilts that go around his belt. If you're familiar with the game, it's because he's slaying all these Jedi, slaying all these Sith, so he's got to kind of have their stuff on him. This one's probably my favorite, but you got to open up to where you can see the Kyber crystal. Really cool. They really don't skimp on the detail on any of these, so I'm glad that we got all of them. I'm glad they're all detailed, and they can all unscrew, so he can hold any of them and wield them to cause destruction across the galaxy. Luckily, putting them on his waist is really easy, which we'll get into here in a little bit when we actually start posing them. Which, speaking of which, I think, why don't we go ahead and take a look at Lord Starkiller himself? It's been about 5 minutes. Straight out of the box. Nothing crazy done. Here he is, Lord Starkiller. Go ahead and get this little display going. Normally I edit that part out, but I really just want to take it in here just how awesome this figure is. So every second counts, I guess. immediately just even unboxing him and taking all the plastic off of him, just holding him, I was in awe. He's crazy detailed. You got his little logo on the back there. You got all those pieces up to his top piece. His helmet is absolutely dope. The scratches and the wear and tear and everything really makes it feel like he's seen some battle, like it's well lived in. We got something similar with Battle Damage Vader and Darth Revan, so it is really cool to see on him. I think he is probably the most deserving of any of them. He is a bit stiff in articulation, mostly in the legs. His head movement is really, really dope and really easy to do. He swivels probably one of the best that I've had for swiveling for somebody with a helmet on, which is really cool, really refreshing to see. He didn't feel any resistance. He moved pretty much everywhere I wanted him, which I love to see, saying that other parts are really limited, so you got to give us something that isn't limited. You know what I'm saying? His arms do get some movement. You'll see when I do some posing and I kind of show you. Real quick, little side thing. Love that you get the, I think it was supposed to be the Padawan's hair, maybe, from him killing people. I think that's what it was. That's what it looks like. My memory is really hazy on it. But whatever. Like I was saying, detail on him is absolutely insane. Just take a look at all of this wear and tear and these scratches in cool places. Like, really cool. You got the pleather, which is expected. So I'm glad he's not actually super posable in the legs, because that pleather would probably give out so fast. But it was kind of disheartening that he doesn't move all that much. You do get wired on his capes, which is cool. Really helps get some cool display going. I'm trying to think of like what else I could really harbor on for articulation wins, because he doesn't go back and forth really a whole lot in his torso. His knees are probably the most articulation you get on the legs. Moving it any other way just feels really forced. I was worried I was going to like break them. You get some pretty good movement on his arms, like up, but that's about it. You know, bending it normally is where you're going to get most of it. It's because he has those shoulder pieces, which I'd rather have them and him be limited than not have them and he be superposable, because I want authenticity here of as close of replicating the original design. So sacrifices have to be made. Luckily, he's not one I'm doing absolutely insane poses on. So I guess I can consider it okay. It like washes out in the end. He feels good though. Everything feels real nice. I didn't really have any quality control issues with mine. I don't know if I've seen anywhere that people complained about quality control issues on this one. I know people didn't like the hood on Darth Revan, so I keep talking about him a lot. I got them both really close back to back, so my mind is kind of like thinking about both of them. But let's do some posing here, just so you can see what he can do. I like this one. I like to eventually get like some force lightning for his hands. I wish he would have came with some of those. I think it's like my biggest gripe for accessories. But otherwise, I mean, he poses cool. I love these poses. His hands really add a whole lot to the dynamic, as well as like all the hilts dangling from his waist. So maybe where he lacks articulation, he makes up for in shelf presence with how he moves. Here we go with the two sabers. And when I say how he moves, I mean like how his body looks like it's moving. I'm not talking about articulation. I want to make that distinguished there, like distinction, I guess. I like this pose a lot. It's really cool. I am not really going with it for my shelf, but just so you can see. Here's probably the most I messed with him articulating wise. Really kind of pushed the shoulders back, bent the knees a bit to get that pleather flexing a little bit. But I'm not really pushing my limits. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. Was really scared too. So that's going to be my biggest gripe. It's just I wish he could move around a lot more. Almost everything else about him is a perfect figure. Apart from that, yeah, a really cool figure. I really do love him. I did put him next to one of my Vaders. I actually am going to throw up what he looks like next to a Vader, because I feel like that is a must. If you played these games, you know just how important that is. So check him out next to Lord Vader. I think they pair really well together. This is the Obi-Wan version. Not damaged, of course. And I absolutely love it. Tell me what you think about him. If you have him in your collection, got him on the way, dream figure, love him, hate him. Let me know in the comments. Share, subscribe, ring the bell, all of those things. Until next time, later.